Hi there, welcome to my channel. I'm Holly and this channel is all about my exploration of the world of graphic novels, sci-fi, and fantasy. So I'm getting ready to read Blackest Night by Jeff Johns, and when I found out about this story, I knew it was the next thing I needed to read because I loved Green Lantern's Secret Origin, where the Blackest Night prophecy is foretold by some alien prisoners, and then you have Abin Sur, one of the Green Lanterns, who travels to this prisoner planet to try to gather information to put a stop to this thing, and he fails miserably. So I guess this prophecy is right on track to become reality. And of course, I want to know all of the little details and how this thing is going to be stopped, if it can be. I know that this is going to be an awesome story. I also know that there's going to be a bunch of Green Lanterns in this story that I am clueless about. And a couple of months ago, I would have thought that I had to read an origin story on every single Green Lantern before I could take on this epic story, but I am not going to do that. I have found a loophole, and it's called cheating. My husband has this huge DC Comics encyclopedia that gives a little bit of information about a ton of DC characters. And so I used that to dig up some background information on some of the Green Lanterns who appear in Blackest Night. I also used a couple of other sources to answer the biggest question I have, or one of the biggest questions I have so far about superheroes, and that is, does something terribly tragic have to happen to one or both parents in order to become a superhero? From what I have read so far, it seems like it's almost a requirement. All right, so I'm just going to share a few fun facts on 3 of these Green Lanterns. And before I do, if you enjoy this content, please hit the like button, subscribe, share, and stick around for the video. Okay, first up, we've got Guy Gardner. Love the alliteration because it helps me remember the name. Surprisingly, neither one of his parents meet with an untimely death. Color me shocked. I think this is a first for me. However, apparently his father was an absolute monster. He frequently physically mistreated Guy, which had a profound effect on his emotional development. Now, this is what I'm talking about. This is the sort of information I want to know because it helps me understand the motivations of some of these characters and why they do the things they do. Okay, one of the most interesting things that I discovered about Guy is that he was tapped by Abin Sur to become a Green Lantern, but for whatever reason he gets passed over for Hal Jordan, and they now have this long-standing rivalry. I wonder why. I can imagine the tension between these two. There's probably a little bit of drama. Anyway, it seems that Guy is constantly trying to prove himself as the one true Green Lantern. And from what I can gather, personality-wise, he's aggressive, impulsive. Actually, that kind of sounds like Hal Jordan. And he is not afraid to speak his mind. So he often clashes with the other superheroes, including the other Green Lanterns. Well, he sounds like such a joy to work with. I am looking forward to him. Next up, we have John Stewart. And I can remember his name because it's John Stewart. You know what? I think he's got the saddest background of the 3 that I'm going to talk about in this video. In some of his backstories, he does lose both parents at a very young age, with one storyline having them perish in a car accident. Also, his wife, who is another Green Lantern, is done away with by a star sapphire. Now, I don't know what a star sapphire is. It sounds like a group, kind of like Green Lanterns, star sapphires. Anyway, I don't know the details surrounding this event, but it's clear that John has suffered significant loss and has had to contend with a lot of pain and turmoil. Now, the craziest fact that I discovered about him is that he makes a huge mistake and accidentally destroys an entire planet. How the heck do you destroy an entire planet, especially on accident? And I wondered, was this planet inhabited? Most likely it probably was, and that probably really messed with his psyche. And for the cherry on top, after everything he's been through, he is severely injured in the line of duty and is paralyzed from the waist down. Can you imagine a life more tragic? Well, probably it could be, but if so, I wouldn't even want to know about it. And last up, we have Kyle Rayner, which is a coincidence as he is the last Green Lantern in the universe. When I read that, my jaw hit the floor. Yes, reading this encyclopedia and the couple of other little sources, even though I was doing a shallow dive, I got spoiled. And you know what? That's okay. When I first started reading graphic novels about 3 months ago, I told my family, do not tell me anything. I want to figure all of this out for myself. I want to discover things organically. Oh my word, I actually used that word in another video, organically. But you know what? That ship has sailed. And that's okay, because you know what? It's just made me want to read more stuff. Anyway, back to Kyle Rayner. Let's talk about his name for a minute. Does he not sound like a meteorologist? Like your local weather guy giving you the latest update on the weather forecast? Now, his parents do pass away when he is very young. Okay, now, out of the 4 Green Lanterns I now know a little bit about, hey, 3 out of 4 of them have lost their parents. That is 75%. That's a lot. Anyway, unfortunately, he also loses his girlfriend. She is done away with some villain named Major Force. And it says that he walked away with survivor's guilt. Now, that kind of implies that they might have been together when this event occurred, and perhaps Kyle tried to save her and failed. One of the most interesting things that I discovered about him, though, was that he has an upgraded power ring, which works against the color yellow. And so I wonder what that means, if anything, for the Guardians of the Universe. I guess we shall see. Okay, wrapping up here, I think I now have my bearings about me. I know just enough about some of these characters to be able to not feel so lost while I'm reading, and I can just sit back and enjoy the ride. Okay, I am about to start reading Blackest Night, and I look forward to begin sharing it with you next time. And yes, you heard me right. I'm going to begin sharing this with you. This thing is over 300 pages long, and it is not going to get done in one video. Maybe 2, maybe 3, we'll see. All right, guys, I'm out of here, but please stay tuned. I'll be right back.